Good evening, friends. This is Mike Mitchell. I have a new book. I've had it for several weeks, and I haven't opened it. I was saying, well, what am I going to talk about? I've committed myself to doing a video, but I didn't know what. So the obvious thing is I've got lots of books. Let me grab a book. And then this thing was staring at me. And then I attended a seminar on Friday afternoon on Ray Edwards gave a session on business development, and he mentioned the book. So I'm going to read it. It's not a very long book, and I'm a pretty fast reader, so 200 pages is not simple, but I'm a pretty fast reader. I'm going to try to go through it this week and talk about what I'm doing each night. Now, tonight's just the overview. You can see I fairly recently bought it. Got the invoice right here. $20. I really ought to take some use of this $20 I spent, right? Okay. I would recommend that you get this book. From everything that I've heard and what little I've looked at it, it's probably worth the effort. I mean, the fact that it's by Michael Hyatt, he's really good at breaking the complex down into simple and at providing actionable information. If you really want to lead a company, and the very first part, I haven't gotten very far in it, but he talks about the vision thing and talks about the difference between a manager and a leader. I'm a really good manager. Leadership is something I've been studying, but I haven't exercised much. You've heard about my New Villages project, where I would like to start a village inside the city, reclaim some of the vacant houses, reclaim the vacant businesses, restore the schools, restore the area as a great place to live. I mean, why not do everything all at once? And that's really what you got to do. You've got to do everything all at once. And that's a vision that's way too big for me. I'm going to need help. I'm going to need God's help. I'm going to need other people's help. But I can see it as clear as day. It's in my head. It can't not work unless I don't get started, unless I don't create enough vision for others. So this is my book. This is what I'm going to be reading. Because page 22, leaders create and cast vision. Managers receive and execute the vision. Leaders inspire and motivate. Managers maintain and administer. Leaders weigh and take risks. Managers control and minimize costs. Leaders focused on the long term. Managers focused on the short term. You have to have both. I mean, you ever been in a company where the leader is a leader and there's no one really managing? They just go from idea to idea. I mean, that was probably one of Jimmy Carter's biggest faults. He was a great vision caster, but he didn't have and he might have been a pretty good governor, I don't know. But when he went to the national scale, he didn't have any national level leaders in his cabinet. And so he floundered for a couple of years. And by then, everyone just kind of gave up and nothing got done. And the economy was in shambles. We've got some of that with Trump. Trump's first year was really bad. He brought in outsiders. And the insiders he brought were more managers. They weren't really leaders. They weren't vision people. And a lot of them came from Congress, which is not the administrative side. It's more the vision casting. And so he really didn't have the support that he needed. And he ran through a lot of staff created a lot of turbulence until he started getting a feel for what's going on. And we don't know how it's going to turn out, but that was, if you are big vision casting, but you don't have the ability to maintain and administer, to control risk, manage risk. I mean, one of my big functions is to identify risks in the development of our program and in the fielding, and document the risk and look for mitigation and then monitor, because frankly, it's uncomfortable to manage risk. We're past the case where we've been, where everything now is paid for, it's fixed price. There's not really a whole lot of incentive for my contractor to manage risk, except when it damages other lines of business, which we've had a couple of those areas where the parts failed and it was damaging the installation line of business, because they were falling behind and not getting the bonuses that they were expecting. So a manager focuses on the short term. You've got to do, if you're running a business, you have to focus on the short term. You got to know, I mean, from my from Ray's presentation on Friday, he reminded us, you've got to know where you are. You got to know your cash flow. You've got to know your income statement on a daily basis to the penny. You've got to understand what bills are coming when, so that you can monitor the ins and outs of your business. And that's a lot of control. But you really are limiting yourself if that's all you do and don't do vision. And he gives the story of George Herbert Walker Bush. He was a very good vice president to Ronald Reagan because he was the son of an ambassador. He had been head of the CIA. He had been in government. He had been in Congress. He had been in Washington for so long. He knew how things worked. And he helped Reagan be successful. Reagan was more of the vision caster, although he had a lot of administrative background from California. But again, he had seen the failures that Carter brought. And so he was also a state governor coming to a national level, and he brought in a national level vice president, which helped him be successful. The trouble was, he was such a visionary leader, but Bush was too much of an administrator. And they said, and his advisors were talking about his political campaign, and they said, how are you going to be president? And they said, you really need to create a strategic vision. And he said, oh yeah, the vision thing. It carried his association with Reagan, carried him into one term as president, but he wasn't good about casting vision. And he said, remember the wimp factor? He was a politician without a political identity, according to Time magazine, or Newsweek magazine. And so the 1992 re-election bid, Hyatt notes that unable to cast a vision in a profitable economy or America's role in a post-Cold War, Bush failed to get the votes. So we're going to walk through this over the next few days. I'm sorry, it's way too late and I need to get to bed. But I will be reading this. I encourage you to grab a copy of The Vision Driven Leader, Michael Hyatt. It's on Amazon. It's on Bigger Books. I got mine from Christian Book at a little bit of a discount. I will put an affiliate link in the comments. It is an affiliate link. If you buy from it, I get a small commission. Amazon doesn't pay big commissions. If you buy through my link or directly from Amazon, it's not going to change your price at all. If you find a better price, go for it. Please do. I'm learning affiliate links. I'm going to practice on you. But over the next few days, I'm going to walk my way through this. So, vision-driven leader, Michael Hyatt. And you can decide whether you're going to stay a manager or add some vision into your business. This is Mike Mitchell. Thanks for watching. This is enough for tonight. I bid you peace and blessing and a very good night.